I don't think we have a perfect structure at the FT, but it's working pretty well, and I think we see the clear benefits of having, you know, strong boardroom presence for communications or PR at the top. It's well positioned. It straddles the kind of church and state that we have of editorial and commercial. The FT is now a very complex place. It's not just a newspaper, it's not just a website. You know, there's a range of different sort of products and services, non-English language websites, conferences, personal finance that sits under the key brand, the core brand. The significance here is that everything's anchored around that brand. Without the FT brand, none of the rest of it is possible, so it becomes even more precious and needs ever greater protection. I've seen it both ways. I've worked at organisations where, at the end of the day, you're given a very complete plan. Please go out and PR this. Very tactical. By that time, there's nothing you can do about it. And having sat on the board at the FT for a year, I can see how there's a very important role for communications in terms of just nipping things in the bud and pushing things in the right direction from day one. The other part of that is that you become a strategist first and maybe a communications person second in that role. So it does change the way you look at it, because the FT is sort of built around this 24-hour newsroom, global newsroom. And PR and the communications department has sort of grown to reflect that. So we have a very kind of seamless global team that operates across, you know, a number of regions. And I think this has put us in great shape to take advantage of these new channels, take advantage of social media. We are operating 24 hours. We do have excellent processes for handing over issues through time zones. And it's put us in a great position to kind of take leadership in social media across the organisation. When we're looking at hiring community managers, I think that's probably our first step as a department, where we really are hiring for the first time, you know, very tailored specialists for roles. There are two areas at the FT I think they're under focus of much discussion, and they're going to have a bearing on the future of the department, and that's social media and also corporate responsibility. So we kind of developed a sort of central strategy team, which I kick-started, and I think it's kind of jumped the trend of having a dedicated social media team. We didn't have the resources to do that, so it was never really an option. So we've developed a far more collaborative approach in how we kind of bring the organisation together around social media. And it's made a massive difference in terms of just building a strategy, but also arguing for the sort of the funds and the investment that we need from the organisation. So I think PR has been quite well placed in this. We've always had a reputation in the company for innovating. We've always been quite nimble. We can bring this to social media. We're also very good at bringing parts of the organisation together, so this has also worked very well for us. In 2016, 10% of all marketing spend would be spent on tapping into influencers. That's an area that we're starting to work on. We have done over the last couple of years, but that's going to become a real area of focus, I think, for us as a company in the coming years. And the impact of social media on the PR team, it's been very empowering. You know, now we can go out and promote our top stories to our consumers and readers directly. We've got a big scoop coming up this weekend. There's a Stephen Fry interview with Lady Gaga, which is going to be a social media bonanza. I think 5 years ago, if I thought how we'd go around promoting that, you know, we'd have struggled actually. You know, we'd have had to have gone to other third parties. But now we can go straight through Facebook, Twitter, and go straight to our consumers. I think I'll just conclude by saying, you know, there are clear advantages of having communications at the top table, and we see that daily. And I'm seeing it happen the other way. And it's a real time of flux for communications PR, certainly within the FT, and a real time of opportunity for us. And then I think in a year's time we'll have a much clearer sort of view of what our job will be in the organisation in the long term.